Okay, Attica City Council meeting, 11/11 of 2024. If clerk would please take roll call.
Mayor Grant,
Present?
Mrs. DeLong,
Present.
Mr. Moss,
Present.
Mr. Voorhees,
Present.
Mrs. Carnahan, Mr. Roderick,
Present.
Attorney Bars,
Present.
Morgan Wood, Lillian Irwin, Jocelyn Barnett, Grace Hiller,
Here.
Kaden Ashley. Mayor,
Thank you for being here, Grace. Before we get started, it's Veterans Day. I'd like to recognize our veterans that are in attendance tonight. Thank you for your service. I know Scott was in the military. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Is there anybody out in the audience that served in our military? All right, well, we just have one, but thank you again.
Appreciate your service.
I believe Cindy was a drill sergeant, weren't you?
She could be. Still is.
I still am.
Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the October 14th meeting?
Yes, I have, and I make a motion, we accept the minutes as written for 10/14/2024.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Citizens petitions and concerns. Is there anybody in the audience that needs to speak that's not on the
Yeah, I've got
agenda?
two things.
Yes, sir.
My name is Troy Allison. First one real quick is the trash can deal. Away from the curb, you say. My mom, her pad is 3 feet off the road. There's no curb there anyway. So, and they're not physically able to get out there and move them cans back and forth. My dad poured that pad 60 years ago. And it's not hindering anything. And then when they blacktopped Cedar Street 2 years ago, they actually came farther in and actually blocked their drain. I had to go out there and take the asphalt away from the drain. So open it back up, it drains off the driveway. So it would have been farther than 3 feet away. So I don't see where her trash cans are a concern, and they're back by the bushes, so you can't really see them anyway. And again, they're not physically able to go move them back and forth all the time.
I understand what you're saying, and I think that the term curb was used generically from the street, because we've got a lot of streets in Attica that don't have
Yeah, there's
physical
no curb there.
curbs. I get that. And I guess while we're on the subject, I'll go ahead and address it because I've caught a lot of flack on it over the weekend. This ordinance was passed in 2011. So it's not anything new that Attica's doing. I did some research. Williamsport, Covington, Crawfordsville, Lafayette, West Lafayette, all of the incorporated cities within our area have a very, very similar ordinance. And some of them are a lot more strict than ours. For instance, Covington, you can't have anything sticking out of the top of your tote. Where you drive around Attica and you see stuff piled on them 3 bags high. I've talked to several people about this. Most of the people that have approached me thank me for wanting to enforce this ordinance. The reason it has not been enforced in the last few years is the fact that the company that we had before they bought out trash cans did not want stickers or tags on their barrels. So it kind of put us in a bad spot on enforcement. Now, with that being said, I've read a lot, heard a lot about, oh, well, it's going to be a $250 fine. A $250 fine is a generic fine for our ordinances, period. It's not just for that, it's for ordinances, period. That doesn't mean that that's what the judge is going to charge you if you come into court. It's up to $250. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So it wouldn't go to the judge. Anything under $250 can be paid at the clerk's office without having to go to city court. And so you can drop that down, but it can't go any higher than $250 if you want to collect it. So I think Ballard's, which is pretty strict, is like $50, which I know.
but there are court fees if it ends up going to court.
Correct. Yeah.
In addition to the fine.
$250.
But here's my thing. I could care less about the money, folks. Really. I just want these back off the curb or away from the street.
So how far they have to be off there then? I mean,
it says that they're supposed to be back, I think, I want to say 10
There's 3
feet.
photos there.
There's 3 feet there, a little
But,
bit further than that.
and
but
I'm not going to argue your mom's case because
well, I don't know how they're gonna be able to physically
I
do this.
understand what you're saying, okay? Let me finish. Nobody is going to sit out in front of some elderly person's house at or at 12 noon on Tuesday and write them a ticket. That's not the intent of this. What I have is people who are able-bodied, just like most of us here, and they choose not to bring them back. I've got a neighbor across the street that theirs is set out there for years, and they're more able-bodied than I am. If the police drive by there on Wednesday or Thursday, is that still okay? I don't think so. That's not to say that somebody's going to be sitting out in front of your house looking at the watch and saying, time to get her back, bud. But what they're saying is that the same people that are able-bodied aren't taking them back, and they need to. If we could do away with this ordinance, but is that really what anybody wants? Do you really, really want to drive into Attica and see blue totes sitting out in front of every house in Attica?
No, I think they need to.
So what do they need to do?
There
You
needs to be
tell me.
mitigating circumstances.
Yeah.
Even criminals get mitigating
And
circumstances.
you and I talked about this
I
already
mean,
this
they need to
week.
go after people parking on the sidewalks, people parking in the front yards, instead of trash cans.
You're absolutely right. And my police chief isn't here tonight.
Park the
But
wrong
I
way
said
up
when
there
I
on the
was
street.
running for mayor, that if you got a bunch of junk on your front porch, out in your yard, if you let your grass grow, if you don't take your trash tote back, if you really don't care about what your property looks like, then probably I'm not the guy to vote for. Because I am the guy who is going to push our police chief to enforce ordinances.
Right.
And part of that is state law, because the state law says that the mayor shall enforce the ordinances of the city or see that they're enforced.
Right.
So that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to put anybody in harm's way. I'm not trying to come down on old people that can't drag these things back and forth. But what I am trying to come down on is people that are more able-bodied than I am, and I managed to get mine back and forth. I've seen people say, well, I work. Well, I work too. I've worked for 40 years, and I managed to get my trash barrel back and forth. So I don't have a lot of empathy for people who are just as able-bodied as I am that don't do that. Do I have empathy for people like your mother? Shoot, yes, I do. And I talked to Denise the other day, and I said, well, maybe there's a way to have them come in and get a tag to put on their can that gives them some kind of a exemption to keep them from getting a ticket over and over. But I don't think it's unreasonable of anybody to get a warning or a ticket if you keep pushing it on a Wednesday or a Thursday or a Friday when it's set out there all week. I don't want our town to look like some of the unincorporated areas out
Oh,
in the
yeah, I don't
counties.
either.
Their
So-
trash never overflows, and
No.
there's no one on that road other than
No.
them. I mean,
And-
no one
and-
lives on that road.
And like I said, I'm not arguing that case. I think that there are people who are not going to be able to get them back. My mother-in-law was one of them. You know, she lives on McDonald Street, and there's a big hill in front of her house. She's 80-some years old. There's no way that she's going to be able to drag that back. And I've been going out there for a couple of years and getting her trash and taking it to my house and putting it in my tote. And she's still paying for it. So don't get me wrong. She's not getting a freebie here, but she's still paying for trash pickup, and it keeps her from having to bring it down. So nobody's trying to come after your mom.
Well, I'm
Nobody's
just,
trying to
I'm talking
come
for,
after
all
anybody.
people like that too.
If I could say, there's a couple elderly people in our neighborhood that the trash cans will actually go up to their garage, get their
They
trash.
will.
and
They
empty
will.
it
I've seen them
and-
do
and Put
that.
it back.
Well,
And I think if you talk to them, I think they would really.
well, we don't want to do that. The pad's right there.
There's
The
nowhere,
see.
pad's
there's nowhere
there.
for it to go up to.
Yeah.
That's the problem. There's nowhere for it to go up to
I see.
on that side of the house.
And the second thing I got is the veteran bathrooms. They never got put up today, or,
They didn't work today.
but my understanding was they got dropped off on the 4th.
I don't know when they dropped them off here. Joanne, do you know?
I don't know what the date was. They were dropped
But
off
do you want
last
your leaves
week.
picked up, or do you want veterans.
Oh, my dad's
banners
banner
put
up there. I don't care less about the
Well,
leaves.
it'll get put up.
So whatever day they get put up, then they need to stay up that longer next year to get a full year out of it.
Please remember that this is not a city deal. This is a DAR that does this. We do them a favor by allowing them to go up. We don't have anything to do with it other than put them up. City doesn't make any money off this. This isn't a city deal. We do them a courtesy by putting them up and taking them down.
Well, to me, I think you look ridiculous because you can't even see them. You got a snowflake and a banner together. The banner covers half the snowflake, and the snowflake covers half the banner.
Let me finish. We bought new brackets. The brackets are double brackets, so we can put more of them up. The new brackets won't be in the same place that these old brackets are.
They're gonna be on either side or below.
Give them a
or-
chance and see how it works out. Eric had this all laid out so that we could have either the snowflakes higher, the banners higher. Eric's got it all laid out, but give them a chance and let them see how it comes out.
Well, I just want to be
And
up
Troy,
there.
this happened last year too. We ended up taking the banners down until
Yeah.
after. the
And
lights were
I
up.
said I did not want that to happen this
Right.
year because
Yeah,
I
right
caught
now
more
you can't
flags
even
over those
see it.
coming down last year. And really, like I said, it's not a city deal. We're doing it out of a courtesy to the community and to the DAR, who really work hard to get this to happen.
And just a heads up, there's 2 of these snowflakes out. They were out when they put them up.
May not be any power there, so they may not be out. Some of these poles, particularly the ones downtown or down in the downtown area, they don't have power on them. And the new poles won't be here until
The ones close.
January, and those people were informed of that. And I know Cindy's been working with them, but they were
These are on the
informed.
highway.
Yeah, and there's a couple of them there by the new parking lot that probably don't have any power.
No,
So-
there's one at Dollar General, one down by the bridge that don't have, those are the 2 that are out.
I'll call them.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Thank you.
We're on the trash subject. I'm new here.
Okay,
Is there
Can
any
you
way?
please state your name for the
Oh,
record?
Sarah Dunsing.
Thank you.
I'm here for a totally different reason, but I'm curious, if you don't need trash pickup, is there a way to opt out of the?
No.
How come?
Because it's the contract that the trash company has set with the city. We have to pay for it regardless. The city doesn't do the trash pickup. We contract with a private entity to do that, and we're billed for it regardless.
Well, there might be something to look into.
We just signed a new contract with the company for 5 more years.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
The numbers of all those contracts have gone astronomical just to get rid of trash. It's unbelievable when you look at the numbers. And we try to keep it as low as possible. And it's just based off the number of residents we have and everything else. I don't know what it is, even, I don't pay attention to mine anymore. What is it?
I brought it.
It's not much, right?
So when they
But
do
I get
trash
your point,
contracts,
why-
they do it by per house,
Mhm.
and so it's hard to opt in and opt out because that skews their numbers, and then it messes up their bid, and it just snowballs. It's not a flat rate; it's a per household.
You do get a discount though if you're a senior citizen. And we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that.
I need to recoup mine.
Citizen.
Wait your turn, Miss Mason.
I'm still looking for the paperwork.
Cindy Mason. And I was thinking about this today, and I think that there's so much that we as community members can do that does not cost anything to make our community look great, to make it look better. And one of those things is not having all these trash cans hanging out. And there's always gonna be exceptions, and I understand that, and I think that can be worked around. But if there's no rule or no regulation, it's too chaotic. It looks like trash, and that's not the image that I want for my community. And I think you're absolutely right too about the parking on the sidewalks. I don't like parking on the wrong side of the street. When I go into communities, and you all know that I travel a lot, But those ones where you know they're taking care of business and they're really, everybody in the community's on board on, I want my community to look the best. There's order. There's order to that community. And we are lacking in that. It's like whatever the individual wants to do, well, it's okay, it's my right, I can park there if I want to, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't affect just that one person. It's a reflection upon our whole community. And I think if we want our community to look great, then we've got to step up and say, this is important. It's the little things that don't cost us anything. You know, it doesn't cost you anything to do just those two things. And I would just like to see more of that community spirit and saying, I'm proud of my community. Yeah, sometimes I have to drive around the block. You know, my daughter got a ticket for parking on the wrong side of the street. I don't care. She was parking on the wrong side of the street. I want it to look like this is a great community. And when I go up to Michigan or wherever I'm going and I see those communities like that, I'm thinking, wow, you know, Holland's a pretty neat town. Hudsonville's a pretty neat town. I want people driving through Attica saying, wow, this town looks really neat. So I just wanted to share that. And so I know you guys get flack, but sometimes that's why you get paid the big bucks.
Well, and I think, yeah,
And I think you're doing a great job, but just don't be
Thank you, Cindy.
discouraged.
I think it's one of those things, and I've said it before at several meetings where we've had neighbors that didn't really talk to other neighbors or didn't, you know, if I have a problem with my neighbor or my neighbor's needing my garage, I'll move my stuff out in my driveway. You can have a garage. You know, it's just being neighborly. And like you said, if I get an elderly, you know, someone elderly or my neighbor's hurt, I'll take care of his trash cans. He's taking care of mine. It's just being neighborly and being friendly and taking care of our community, and I appreciate that. It's definitely little things like that add up. We've got a whole lot of other stuff that we want to do, but it takes time and money to do a lot of that.
You're right, Scott. And there's, you know, unfortunately, not all neighbors are as neighborly as others.
Trust me, I get that. too.
Just to tag on to that, I don't know whether I ever passed this around or not, but this is a letter that I came up with some time ago that the city clerk's office is passing out to all new water customers. So when you come to Attica, you get this, and I kind of outlined the highlights of what is expected and what's not expected, and where you can go for this and that. But you can see there I highlighted about the trash and when it's supposed to go out and when it's supposed to come back. I just passed a house yesterday that the trash had been sitting out there all week, and I know for a fact they got one of those when they moved in a few weeks ago, and they must not have read it because it's not good. So I think people just need maybe a friendly reminder.
Is that on the website as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, you know, I think that the mindset that I would like to instill is that, I can probably get away with it. You know, they're not going to enforce that. The mindset I would like to instill is that, oh no, if I do this, I'm going to get a ticket, or I'm going to at least get a warning. And that way it takes out makes it more black and white to people. I've seen a lot of comments about other towns, and like I said, Williamsport, Covington, what I call peer communities. Crawfordsville is obviously a little bit bigger. Covington's about the same size, maybe a little smaller, but they've all got similar ordinances. And I'm not looking to get in anybody's pocket here. And you know, I've also said that, you know, if it goes to court, Judge Mason could say, hey, you know, I understand, and we're not going to fine you. You know, he's typically a pretty fair guy. But if it's your third time in here and you've been given multiple warnings and he's let you off a couple of times, maybe you need that $250 fine for a wake-up call. So that's my spiel, if you will. Unless anybody has anything else on that topic, I'll go ahead and move on to the agenda. I promised this was going to be a quick meeting tonight.
Excuse me, I got one other thing.
Cindy Mason.
Cindy Mason. You're trying me.
That's her job. You better hurry.
Okay, thanks, Ingrid. I just want to share that I talked to, I don't even know who I talked to now. I think Baker told me. I think I talked to Heidi about when we have all of our food vendors come in. And I was just thinking, when I was looking at the food and beverage tax that the city gets back from the state, I'm not seeing those people contributing. And even though they're a food truck, they still need to be paying tax on the items that they sell, food and beverage. So I think we need to come up with something that if Main Street is having a bunch of food vendors in, we're gonna put it in their contract that, just a reminder, sales tax in Attica is 7+, Attica's 1%. So we can get that money back, because those vendors have to pay sales tax. When I do my pumpkins, I have to do sales tax. So I know they're paying it, I just don't think they realize that they need to pay it 1% more. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that, and
Yeah,
see if you're in agreement with
this has
that.
come up before, and I don't think we have currently, we have a good way to police whether or not that's being collected or not.
Do they have to register when they come into town with the clerk's office? or
No, they
anything?
don't.
No, it's health department approved and inspected, so we'd have to tap into vendors and just know when they're here, but it would be, I don't know, any way we'd be able to.
It would you'd kind of get in the weeds, but a lot of places, and I've looked this up too, they have a license, a vending license that you have to go to a clerk's office and get, and then you get that information. And, even if you made it a very nominal fee, if you just said it was $10 for the year, $5 for the year, at least it requires them to come in here and register as a food vendor. And then you can say, hey, you need to collect the 1% food and beverage tax. And if they're out selling in the community and they don't have that in their window that says that they're a registered food vendor in Attica, then
Fine.
you can approach them. That was the only plan I could come up
Well, I'm
with.
sure a lot of your larger cities have a food permit for the food trucks and stuff,
Yeah,
so that'd be a way
yeah.
of doing it, even if we set it, like you said, $5 or $10, then they'd be registered, but
Again, I'm not looking to get in their pocket but at least it would make them comply.
Well, and you have some vendors that set up a lot of times. It's not like they're just coming for
For a
special
weekend.
thing. Yeah, they're just setting up somewhere.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll shut up.
With a little button on the side there.
I heard short meeting and we're gonna keep going.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I have a question. Thank you. Denise Routzen. We had a family come before the BZA a few weeks ago asking for exemptions for an add-on on Mount Street. Drove by there a few times now. There is no permit anywhere on the building. Is that somehow a violation? Because I thought you had to show you had to have.
Building
your
permit's
permit.
supposed to be displayed.
Correct. So
Yes.
what needs to be done?
Eric would need to be, if we notify Eric, then he would know if he approved that permit, and if they have it, and then we could do it.
It should have been approved because the BZA
Right.
approved it.
And they just
There's
need to
no
have it
permit.
posted.
I mean, they are
Right.
just a piece of cardboard, and sometimes they don't get, they don't last as long as the project does. I get that.
But
But
it's never been up, so
But
that's what I was asking.
should be.
There are times when people apply for the building permit, Eric approves it, and they do not come in and pay for it. So it sits there, but they move forward with the project. So
Okay.
Ms. Rouse, what's that address?
I'll have to look it up. It's on the corner of Mound
It's right behind the
and
lumberyard.
Washington. Yeah, it's right behind the lumberyard.
Oh,
Smith.
yeah, Smith.
Steve,
Steve Smith,
Yeah.
that edition. Okay,
Yeah, there's not ever been a permit.
I'll check with Eric tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Eric's gonna be out again tomorrow.
That's right, he told me he'll be back Wednesday.
fairly certain they've been in, but
Citizens petitions, Denise brought these in on behalf of Teddy Dill Stafford.
Mhm.
And I'll just pass those around. Please take one and pass them on. This is in regards to the condition of the med shed. She has some concerns about that and the living conditions down there. I read through this briefly before the meeting. My knee-jerk response is that the city and this council has gone out of its way to provide a better housing situation for the ambulance service. And that's kind of back in the county commissioner's hands now, because they have not acted on that offer. But I really do not see the city of Attica putting any more substantial money into, other than, fixing the air conditioner or whatever, down at the current med shed, just due to its location. I think it needs to be moved. I think the county's waiting until the first of the year to make any decisions on anything, but that's just my opinion. 1 out of 5 here, so feel free to comment. If not, we'll go ahead and move on.
Sorry,
And
one thing. Lexi, Attica Main Street, we have the Christmas parade on December 5th at 6. And assuming the street's gonna be opening back up, I'd like to ask permission to close it down for the parade.
they have told me that they would have it open by Thanksgiving. I know that there was some concerns about running the turkey trot through downtown. And I reached out to HWC and to the contractor just this last week, and they believe that it may not be done with all the brickwork because there's some rework that's got to be done, but they thought that they would have it lined and we could have traffic through by Thanksgiving. Maybe by the end of this week, but I'm not holding my breath. So yes, in my opinion, I think it can, but let's take that to the council. Is that okay with everybody if we
Yes.
close it for the parade? You're only talking a couple hours, right?
Well, close for it.
5, probably.
Are we gonna-
Put notices up
We
so
won't have the
that
power
cars
poles and
aren't.
stuff yet, right?
No, we won't have the
Okay, yeah,
power
that's what I was gonna say. We
until,
won't have the
it's gonna
power
be
and all
dark
stuff.
down there.
Yeah, we're already brainstorming ways to battle
They don't have a lot of light from the parade anyway.
that.
Yeah, make the floats look prettier.
Yep.
Do we have any other citizens petitions? Okay. Do we have any committee reports?
Thank you, Joanne.
None being heard. Park Board, I've got Justin Harmison on here, but you're not
I'm
Justin.
not Justin, but Nancy Mickle from City Park Board. We are here asking for some money, of course. We are going to use, at our last meeting, we appropriated some money. We're going to use our capital assets to work on the construction of bridges at Arms Woods and at Rivian Park. The bridges, I don't know if you've been up there, but they're really getting really bad up there. And they're gonna cause some problems for the public. They're not ADA handicap accessible right now, but they will be when we get them fixed. So at our last meeting, we appropriated some of our capital assets to fix one of the bridges. And so we're here to see if we can get additional appropriations for $3,000 to support the reconstruction of a second bridge in Arms Woods. And that's contingent on, we should be getting funds from the foundation, the community foundation. There's an endowment there through this foundation, and it's specifically set up for the parks. And it has an annual payout, and so this money is guaranteed. All we have to do is ask for it. So we're asking if we could get $3,000 to work on another bridge. There are 4 bridges in the park. The bridge that we're gonna fix is $6,500 to fix. There are other 3 bridges are $5,800 for 2 of them and $5,200 for 1 of them. And I do have the estimate here if you need it or want to see what it is they're gonna do. So I'll give this to you, you can look at it.
I take it
So-
you're not replacing them with bridges in the same style that are there? Are you gonna replace them with one like the Butch Swift Bridge?
They're gonna be replaced with ADA accessible. The ones that are there are not right now.
Okay.
And we have had people that have come to our meetings and complained that, they couldn't get wheelchairs, strollers, things
Sure.
like that across them. They are gonna use composite, it looks like, for the bridges themselves, but they're gonna use steel beams, which I heard we already have.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think the Butch's does. The rest of them look like utility poles with
Yeah, they are.
wood on there.
okay.
So right now, there's $10,000 left in park equipment capital assets. So you're just asking for an additional 3,000 on top of that. So you're just looking at doing 2 bridges before the end of 2024?
Yeah, and then we're planning to put the 2025, we're gonna do the other 2 bridges. That's what we're hoping to do.
So you're gonna spend the 10,000 plus another 3 is what you're wanting, right? Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, because we're gonna spend the $6,500 for the one bridge that we're gonna repair this year. And then we want the $3,000 and then we're gonna get the rest of that from the community foundation,
Well, you've got
because it's a grant. a
you've got
matching grant.
10,000.
You've got 10,000 right now.
Right. I've
So
Justin doesn't want to use it all, I assume.
6,500 plus
We were just.
That's
talking-
not
3,000.
how it works.
Good.
I'll just tell him that, whatever we.
I mean,
have in
you've
there,
got
we can use that.
10,000 right now budgeted.
Right, okay. He must look, he had the paper, but he might have not realized that's how much we had.
Well, that's what's showing in the
I
park
think he thought we
capital
had 7, but
assets.
that's okay.
I mean, I can double check. I mean, this is what's showing in the
So you
park
should
capital
have enough there to
assets.
cover it. out of
Should,
the
yeah.
10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's an estimate too, and if we didn't have I know it was gonna be more if we didn't have the beams and stuff, but that was an estimate too, so we're not sure that that's, gonna be the exact cost too, so. Okay,
So what I'm hearing is, as long as you don't spend over $10,000
In
this year,
2024,
you're good.
right.
Okay. So
Okay,
you don't need an additional
So-
$3,000.
yeah, and the
You're
way he's
good.
asking for additional 3,000, so.
Okay. It sounds like you're good. Everybody agree?
Yeah,
And
okay.
if that's not the case, then obviously we're all about that, 'cause some of those bridges are pretty rickety and
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're all, really bad, so, yeah.
One of them looks like it's been collapsed by a tree.
One of them has a tree across it, from what I understand, in Armswood, so that
After the
has to
park
be,
board, I went out there and took a
yeah,
look
that
at
also
it.
has to be
Did
cleaned
you?
up too, so.
Yeah.
Pretty bad, huh?
Well, could use a little updating.
Yeah,
so you
Okay.
wouldn't need to be a structural engineer to
And there
know
was
this.
also-
Yeah, you don't wanna get me up there
Nancy,
jumping up and down.
There was also a community note donation about 4.5 years ago to go towards park bridges. It would just need to be appropriated. We can do that next year. I believe it's $10,000 in
Okay.
addition to
Well, that'd
what's,
be good.
yeah, in addition to what's in the park budget.
Okay.
I mean, it wouldn't be able to be spent this year, but I mean, it's there for that purpose.
Okay.
Anything else? Nancy?
That's all I think I have here, that's all they told me, yeah.
Great. Thank you. That gets us down to junior council concerns and reports. We've only got one here, but you're the important one. Do you have anything for us tonight?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, thank you, Grace. Department heads, Mr. Swank is not here. Chief Miller, I see you slipped in the back.
I did. First, Officer Hardwick will graduate the academy the second week of December. That can't come soon enough, in my opinion. He'll be ready to hit the road running as soon as he gets back. He's already completed all 3 phases of his field training program, so he'll offer some immediate schedule relief. You'll see that the hiring process will go on ILEA's website either Tuesday or Wednesday this week for additional hires, so we're currently working through that. During the Board of Works meeting with the trash cans, the mayor worked in, we're having issues with, the trash can is truly property of the trash company. But we have ordered stickers so that we can notify individuals of those trash cans that are left out, and they will get 1 sticker. And then the next will be a citation to come see Judge Mason. We'll be receiving a new list from the clerk's office on what serial numbers for what garbage can are attached to what addresses so that we can identify the person, because we have to attach a person to that ordinance violation.
Chief, I don't think you were in here at the beginning of the meeting, but we discussed this whole thing at length longer than probably I wanted to, but,
Don't you have a 3-minute clock, Mayor?
but, well, we weren't running it. But, I explained that I'm not in this to make money from anybody. What I am is I want people to comply. And if you know, I told them that you're not going to sit out in front of somebody's house on Tuesday at 11:59, and when 12 o'clock rolls around, you're going to jump out and give them a ticket. But if you drive by there on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, and that same set of barrels or toad is still sitting out there, then I think it's fair game. We're not doing this to pick on elderly people or people that are infirmed or anything like that. In fact, we talked about maybe a way to tag some of these for people who absolutely can't. But I think that most of the ones that are sitting out today are probably getting around better than I am, and I managed to get mine in and out. So take that for what it's worth. But like I said, we're not looking to fine people. $380, I think, is what somebody posted up on Facebook, and with court costs and all that. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to make people comply and get our city cleaned up.
Well, and I think we're definitely in agreement. You know, the deal with ordinances is first about education. You got to educate the community about the ordinance, because there's a lot of ordinances in that ordinance book. And then the second thing to gain is compliance. And we're going to do everything we can to gain that compliance without a civil infraction being applied. But once it's occupied so much time that we're not gaining compliance, then we're going to have to move to that step.
And that's all I'm looking for.
So,
thank you. Didn't mean to cut you off, but while you were on the subject, I thought
absolutely.
Go ahead if you have anything else.
Absolutely. We have a couple of court orders in place from Judge Mason to clean up some properties on the north end of Berry Street. We've talked with Eric, and we're kind of waiting for leaves to get done and then to kind of get into colder temperatures and their department to slow down. It's going to take a joint effort, as well as some coordination with some record companies and as well as dumpster companies to get all that going. But that'll be moving forward here in the fall as well. About all I got. Just bear with us. We're pretty swamped right now and short staffed. I talked to my day shift officer as I was coming on night shift, and he had 11 calls for service today. So he was pretty swamped in a 12-hour shift.
Oh, we appreciate everything you do.
So we'll get through it, guys. Just bear with us a little bit.
Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Chief Little is not here. Mrs. Broadwater.
I handed out the current financial reports for this month. We are moving in towards the end of the year. We're looking at, we're required by law to have all the accounts in the positive by the end of the year. The process for additional appropriations for ones that have been exceeded what has been approved in the budget is somewhat lengthy, and it's not just something that the city council does. This has to be advertised in the paper, and it has to be submitted to the Department of Local Government Finance in order for them to approve additional appropriations. And there are time standards set forth in order for this process to happen. Because our newspaper is only published once a week, they require a little bit more front time in order to be able to publish an ad. The ad has to be published 10 days prior to the council meeting where it's going to be approved. So if this is going to be approved at the December meeting, then it's got to be published by the 29th, which means we probably have to get it in this week. Hence, it's going to be difficult, Nancy, to do additional appropriations for park beyond right now or anything else. If some of the appropriations exceed even what we request additionals for, they will not get paid till January. We will not end up in the negative, at the end of the year. But I just need you guys to understand that there is a process, and it's not something that we drive. It's set by the state, it's Indiana law, and it's requirements that we have to follow. But we are working on that. We may end up having to have additional meeting in December if we don't meet the 29th, advertisement deadline for the regularly scheduled meeting.
That wouldn't be the first time.
No, probably would be the exception if we did it on the regularly scheduled meeting. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that we are nearing the end of the year. We are going to be shoring things up and what the process is. Anybody have any questions? Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, I have the WIGA report. Did you have anything for WIGA? No? Okay.
Just
Okay. I talked to Mr. Bannon earlier today. He said he wouldn't be here, but I saw you here. I thought I'd better ask. We do have new business. I've got a request to vacate the alley between 200 and 204 South Brady Street. And I believe that person is here.
Are you gonna say something?
You can.
It's not, it's blocked at the end now because of the curbs. So we're just, Bill and I agreed, we had talked about it when I bought the house, that
And
the former owner actually put gravel in it because she actually thought it was hers.
yeah.
Which is sweet.
Well, that
Just
was
so everybody
my-
knows, this is right behind our parking lot over here from the new addition on the 200 block. And I didn't even know it was an alley. We vacated the alley in between the two old brick buildings 3 years ago or something. And that was a portion that we just didn't touch.
Right, so I've donated my half to them when they.
Along the other side, yeah.
Right, on the back
Yeah.
side, and this is on the north side, yeah.
And I've got a letter here from Mr. Glass. He wasn't able to attend tonight, but he is fully in support of vacating the alley. In fact, I think he even offered you his half of the alley,
Yeah.
which is
Park.
good because that'll give you a place to park. If
Yes.
you're using that for parking, half an alley wouldn't do you, or half a driveway wouldn't do you any good.
Right, right. And I assume that comes through that's my next step. There's gotta be something that we do that.
I think Rob was concerned about the hedges there, and there's a utility.
This is in
there.
the back.
Oh, in the back.
We're talking about between Glass's property
Right there in the front.
and
Yeah.
right across from the Methodist
Yeah.
Church.
So if you guys are okay with this, the procedure would be, you filed a petition and we saw that. It's gonna get advertised, so that'll go out this week, so it'll be ready by your December meeting. And then at your December meeting, you'll pass an ordinance vacating the alley, that'll get recorded. That splits the alley half to you, half to Bill, and then Bill can quit claim his portion back over to you after that.
And that has to go through you guys?
The deed doesn't, but the alley vacation has to happen first, and that'll happen at the December meeting.
Okay,
And then it goes to county and all that, where they record it,
Yep.
Beacon and all that stuff like that. So there's several steps to it all.
I figured, yeah.
Do you need a motion or do we just? move
No,
forward?
so we can't do
Okay.
anything tonight,
Okay.
Gotta wait till-
And-
just has been advertised.
And the advertising you guys will do that. And just to be clear, they'll do the advertising, take care of all that, but you'll end up paying for that, right?
Right. It's the cost of running, you have to run an ad in the paper every time you vacate an alley because it's city property that they're giving away. So you publish notice. Normally it's like $40.
So you'll just let
Yeah.
me know that.
I'll let you know that.
Okay,
When we send, so you'll get the original recorded ordinance back with the stamp on it. So you have the original. And then so you'll get a copy. And then with that, we give you the invoice and you will end up paying our office just because we've heard that expense. Just so we can get it in paper on time. And then that comes back to us and you get the ordinance. So about
okay.
40,
And you
50
have
bucks.
my mailing address too? Okay, good, all right. Because I probably won't be here in December, so you'll I assume this has a momentum all its own and,
Yeah, kind of just rolls after we see the petition.
okay, cool, thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Sarah.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Okay, moving on. Unfinished business, just an update. Health insurance, Board of Works voted on that. We voted for what was recommended by several of the folks that have come in to see me. They'll be here on the 19th of this month, AIM will, for a training session, answering questions. The open enrollment is the 18th through the 22nd. So they've got portals set up where employees can log in and look at everything and make their decisions on what coverage they want. I did have one person come to me after we had already sent them the okay for what we had picked, and said, why didn't we do this one? And I wish I'd known that ahead of time, but I didn't. So that is what it is. So that was just an informational. Too many papers out here. They all get shuffled around. I did bring a copy of the trash contract, but I think I sent that to everybody as well. Or not the contract, but what the cost ended up being. We ended up staying with trash cans. They were only slightly cheaper, but they were able to get the performance bond that we required. But they were cheaper. We did get them to come down from their original proposal of $10 for the extra totes down to the current $5. But unfortunately, you know, as Scott pointed out, costs of everything have just gone through the roof in the last 5 years. And trash wasn't one of them that was exempt from that. We had, and they kind of varied widely. We had one company over the course of the contract that was $500,000 higher than everybody else. So they were kind of out to begin with. Trash cans proposal included an alternate for the citywide pickup. They picked up over 90,000 pounds of trash during the citywide pickup this last year. And they contend that there's no way that trash came from houses in Attica. And they saw people out dumping trash in front of houses from outside of town. So in order to control that, we opted to take the alternate bid, which was much lower from trash cans. But they would like to bring roll-offs to the sewage plant 4 times a year instead of going around and picking up 1 time a year. This will allow people to get rid of stuff more often. And it does put a hardship on people that may not have a pickup truck to take that couch down there and things like that. And we considered that. I was going to reach out to the school and see if maybe some of the football team players
I know
or
years ago, the football team used to do that.
yeah. And you know, they could maybe do that for a donation. The other thing I talked to Eric about was trying to control this so the sewage plant doesn't become a dump for 2 counties. And for the savings that we're going to have over the citywide pickup, I believe that we can post a city employee or 2 down there during the Saturday that's open. And we're going to ask people to bring their water bill and a valid ID to prove that that's where you live, so that you're not bringing trash in from other places and dumping it. If the football team ends up bringing it, we may ask that you drive down there and show your ID and say, yeah, this is my stuff. Don't know exactly how that's going to work out just yet, but that's kind of the original thought process. That gets us to, we're going to have to change our ordinance that outlines what the cost is. I sent this to everybody. Currently, with the contract that we have through trash cans, we are paying $11.50 a month for trash pickup residential. Seniors are paying $9.50, so they get a $2 discount. So I carried that on in my proposal. The actual breakdown from trash cans came to $16.85 a month for residential pickup. And what we've done in the past, several contracts, is that we've charged $1 over that. So it would be $17.85 for normal pickup. And then that gives us some money to give back to the senior citizens and give them a $1 discount. So, or $2 discount. So it's going to be $15.85 for seniors, and normal pickup would be $17.85.
Mayor, what age do we consider seniors?
Nancy, or not Nancy.
Nancy, I believe it's 60.
60.
It
Okay.
might be 65.
And do you guys
It might
have a
be
form that you have
65.
to fill out in the clerk's office? I was gonna ask that before the meeting and I didn't get it done.
No, they usually just come in and show ID or something, and Nancy puts it on their account.
Okay.
I better make sure I'm getting that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
I might confirm it, maybe 65. Are you 65?
not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, I'll
I am.
confirm.
Close.
I'll confirm.
What do you want the football team to do exactly?
Thank you, Grace.
I manage.
What we were looking at was if they're not driving the trucks around town and loading up this stuff in front of people's houses, and people are expected to take it down to the sewage plant and put it in dumpsters down there or roll-offs down there, maybe the football team or whatever team could do that as a fundraiser.
Okay.
So like if I need a couch hauled down there and put in that, maybe they could come pick it up, take it down there, and then I give them $20 as a donation for doing that. So it'd be a fundraiser for the athletic
And they're gonna
department.
do it 4 times a year, so once a quarter, so it shouldn't accumulate as much. But, you know, elderly or someone without a vehicle or anything like that,
Yeah.
would be a great fundraiser. I know they sell trash bags, pizzas, and anything and everything else, but, you
Football
know.
and wrestling.
Are they gonna do anything with electronics?
We have not talked about that yet, but they seemed open to having a dumpster there just for electronics.
I think everything goes to the same place anyway, regardless.
That's what happened the last time, if you
Yeah.
remember right. Yeah, we separated all that stuff out and then it all went to the same place.
Right.
Yeah. But that's on them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I will talk to them about electronics. Sarah, did you have a hand up over there? Did I see out the corner of my eye or no? Okay.
Our football coach is currently in Texas for the next 3 weeks, but I'll talk to him when he gets back.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Grace.
You can ask the basketball coach too if you want to. Get them all involved. We don't care. More the merrier.
That wrestling team could do it too.
That's what I was thinking.
I'll have the ordinance for you at the December
Okay.
meeting to.
So she'll have the ordinance ready with those numbers on it for the December meeting. Those numbers sound okay to everybody though, before we proceed with, I mean, we really don't have a choice.
I'd say it is what it is.
This is just so everybody knows, the city doesn't make money off of this. This is what they call a pass-through cost. They charge us, we charge you, we pay them. So the city is not making big dollars off of this. We do upcharge it $1 in order to give the senior citizen discount. So their senior citizens are actually getting it for $1 cheaper than what we're being charged, if you want to look at it that way. Okay, thank you. Market Street tear down. I don't think anything's happened down there other than the gas company did get the gas removed, but Eric's guys have been terribly busy between leaf pickup and everything else going on. I know that those brackets came in for the banners last week, and they were silver or something like that, and we had to go paint them all black. So that kind of delayed things a day or two. But to get the black ones, it was exponentially higher, and I know Cindy's been involved in that. But thank you, Cindy, for helping out getting those brackets purchased. Nothing has really happened on the rental housing inspections. We did add the part-time position to assist in that. And I talked with Eric the other day, and as of today, we don't have any candidates for that. So we're still looking. Annexation of Harrison Hills and properties south, that is kind of heating up a little bit, if you will. A couple of the property owners are in favor of doing that where they weren't before. So I'm working on that still. There's just for those of you that don't know, there's a high voltage power line that's being proposed down across part of that property going from 41 to the west. And they're kind of back and forth with Duke on that. They don't really want, the property owner doesn't want going across his property. So he's more inclined to let the city annex that in and help fight that battle. So I'm working on that. Does anybody else have anything? Okay, next miscellaneous business, the next regular meeting is Monday, December 9th of 24.
Really?
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion, have a second, on a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Trash. I tell you, when I went out and found the trash cans last night.
Oh, okay.